So hey there, beautiful people. This is Lindy Ford, registered dietitian, clinical and licensed nutritionist, and nutrition detective. So I have been doing a series on weight loss that works because there's a lot of opinion about weight loss and there's a lot of weight loss gimmicks out there. And I just want to give you the best, the most sound, the most scientific ways of losing weight in a healthy way. You can lose weight, right, if you go to 800 calories a day, but that's not a healthy way and it's not going to keep weight off. Couple things. The old calories in, energy out theory has been debunked, okay? Yes, calories do count, but they don't count in that way because a calorie is not a calorie. They're not all created equal. They are not a U.S. citizen, okay? So they are different in your body and they do completely different things. So it's the type of the calorie that counts. So what is the next, I guess, tip that I want to give you? Remember the last two. And that the big I, there's a type of a hormone that if you can keep that hormone down, you're going to have a better chance at losing weight. Well, this is the second hormone that, and if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it. I'd really appreciate that, and let me know what you think about it. This is a second hormone that will make or break you, and that is the stress hormone, cortisol. Now, cortisol can be our friend. Cortisol is something that we need. It is a glucocorticoid, and it is made in the adrenal glands. And this is a steroid hormone that it goes up if we want to get out of bed in the morning, if we want to exercise, but it also goes up during chronic stress or any kind of stress, actually. And it's the body's fight or flight response. Now you have that quick energy that you get from adrenaline, right? If somebody cuts you off in traffic, you get that adrenaline surge. That's that quick energy. Well, cortisol is that hormone that actually gives you some more sustained energy, but it does it by giving you, it also gives you some quick energy in that it provides the body with glucose by tapping into protein stores from the liver. So again, we need it. We have to have it. You can't live without cortisol. You need it. But what the problem becomes is that most of us, and I would say, unfortunately, about 70-80% of us are walking around with elevated cortisol levels, right? And that's just from many different reasons. It could be from just a bad diet. It could be from stress at work, emotional stress, family stress, working too many hours, not taking a rest, not taking the proper rest or getting sleep at night. There's all kinds of reasons for a prolonged cortisol response. But let me just tell you why it's so important to keep your cortisol in check. Because if you know the reasons why, I think it might encourage you to really, really look at your cortisol levels or look at your stress responses, right? We're not getting away from stress. We're always going to have stress. It's just how we deal with it, and do we have prolonged stress that hurts our bodies, right? So when we pump that cortisol out all the time in a constant level like that, things get ugly. And I mean, they get ugly fast. Let me tell you, here are the two biggest reasons that cortisol contributes to weight gain. And then I'm going to give you a bunch of reasons or a bunch of things that it does, other ugly things that it does in your body that you don't want. They're undesirable things you just don't want. So the very first thing is blood sugar imbalance. It increases your risk for diabetes. I mean, a whole bunch because it increases blood sugar, right? The blood sugar is great for a short amount of time to help you with energy, for mobilizing, those protein stores and giving you some quick energy. But over time, remember that big I word that we talked about in the first video. What is that word? Yeah, you got it. It's insulin. When your blood sugar goes up, the pancreas has to produce insulin because the body likes homeostasis. It doesn't want too much blood sugar and nothing to do with it. And the insulin is what shunts it to the cells for energy for the cells, right? So, but what is insulin? Insulin is the #1 fat storage hormone. Shazam. There's a problem, Houston, right? There is a problem right there. Second thing is that it contributes to weight gain and obesity because it mobilizes triglycerides from the storage places that triglycerides hang out and relocates them to visceral fat. So what's visceral fat? Visceral fat is different than subcutaneous fat. Subcutaneous fat is the fat on the, that you see kind of with the wobbly arms and that kind of thing. But visceral fat is more dangerous in so many ways because it sets you up for disease. That visceral fat is that fat that likes to wrap around the internal organs and wreak havoc. And that is why cortisol is so contributory to belly fat, because you're getting a lot of visceral fat wrapped around the stomach and the intestines and a lot of places that are really deadly for you. And the other thing is it causes us to be insulin resistant. Okay, so what is that? When we have too much insulin, the cells just say, hey, wait a minute, no room at the end. We are not, the insulin actually has a receptor that opens your cell up so that glucose can go in there for energy, right? Well, if your cells get insulin resistant, what happens is you don't have glucose going into the cell and bad things happen. Again, insulin builds up and there's a fat storage, but the cells are crying, they're screaming out for energy. And so what do? We overeat. But what do we normally overeat? It's always those processed carbohydrates. That's the kind of, it sets us up for cravings of carbs. So those are the reasons that cortisol is really bad for weight loss. Hey guys, I have people coming into my office all the time. Yeah, some of them are overeating, but many of them are eating, less calories than I am and not losing weight. And cortisol is one of the reasons. Now, there's another big reason, and that is gut health, and we're going to talk more about that. That's another huge reason too, but it is just not always about calories, because I know these people aren't lying to me, and they're eating like very few calories, and they're going low carb, and they're not losing weight, and they're doing all kinds of things and not losing weight, and it's because of different physiological impairments in the body that and cortisol is one of them, as well as, like I said, the GI issues. So here's some other things. Here's some other ugly things about cortisol. I hope this helps you to see how detrimental this is so that you'll do something about it. Also, cortisol decreases immunity. So you have an increase in cortisol or chronic cortisol, chronic stress, you're going to get sicker more often. Duh, I know, you know that. Increases GI issues, increases depression and anxiety. Demineralization of the bones actually leads to a greater risk of osteoporosis and osteopenia. Also, coronary artery disease. Diabetes and heart disease are just evil twin brothers, guys. All right, they're twin. We used to think they were cousins. Oh no, they are more familiar than that. They are brothers. Increases insomnia, thyroid issues. I mean, are those bad? Yeah, they're bad, and you don't want that. So again, we're never going to eliminate stress. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut a whole video on just some great stress busting strategies. They are going to include adaptogenic herbs. I love adaptogenic herbs, but you have to be really careful with them and you have to know what you're doing with them. They're going to include some, mind, body, spirit, the whole 9 yards, because we're all this integrated being and we have to deal with stress in a positive way. So thank you so much for watching Weight Loss That Works and this video. And please like the video if you do like it. I would really appreciate that. And please join our YouTube channel. Would love to have you aboard. Comment below if you have any comments. And there's a little subscribe button down there. And I just appreciate you watching today. I really, really do. Thank you. And remember that everybody deserves to be optimally healthy. This is Lindy Ford. Thank you for watching.